This is the Weather Xtreme video for Tuesday morning, the 21st of August. I'm James Spann. Weather nice and quiet here, so we can spend a lot of our time on the tropics where things are heating up, which you expect here in late August. Let's take a look at some Skycam shots. It is another refreshing morning. That's the Tuscaloosa Skycam. Most spots are in the low 60s, but we do have some 50s up on the board. We'll go down south. There's a look at the historic Edmund Pettus Bridge over the Alabama River in Selma. And way down south, there's a look at the Alabama State Pier at Gulf Shores on the Alabama Gulf Coast. And, of course, as we get into the peak of the hurricane season, they are really watching developments out there carefully, needless to say. But look at the trough over the east. Wow. That's pretty cool for August, literally. Check out those numbers. 56 for Cullman, 57 for Haleyville, 55 for Fort Payne. Like that, mostly low 60s down this way. Birmingham at 63. Around the nation, just looks like fall. See some 40s up north. That's good stuff. And really all week we'll stay in dry continental air. There's the convective outlook today. No storms today, no rain today. Really not much rain for the next 5 days. This is valid through Saturday evening at 7 o'clock. Barely enough to rain, if any, for North Alabama. And there might be a shower Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but they should be very widely spaced. All right, let's get in there and talk about the tropics. 3 on the board. Newly formed TD9 that is well east of the leewards. We've got AL 96, which is farther east. The guys at NHC have that as a 50% chance of developing. And 95, which is on the coast of Mexico. And that's just going to sit there for a couple of days. Let's take them all one by one. First off, TD9. We now do have a central dense overcast with that. That formed overnight, and that thing is moving along pretty quickly. We'll look at the modeling, the tropical models, and again, most of them clearly bend it northward in about 5 days toward either Florida or the Bahamas. The Hurricane Center is on the southern edge of that guidance. It's got it coming across the south coast of Haiti and near the south coast of Cuba late Saturday night as a hurricane. Now keep in mind, as this thing gets stronger, it's going to be sucking in dry air. And I'm not so sure it's going to strengthen rapidly. And also, there's a good chance this thing goes right over the Dominican Republic and Haiti, Hispaniola. Mountainous Island tears those things up. And it's going to take some time to recover if that happens. But again, the Hurricane Center wants to be on the southern edge of the guidance envelope. But in the longer range, here's the ensembles off the GFS. And again, you can clearly see most of the members bend it northward. A few want to bring it up into the eastern Gulf, but most of them bring it up toward the east coast. Florida, maybe South Florida, and then up toward the middle Atlantic coast next week. And I think that is the most likely scenario with that mean weakness in the ridge over the east. But clearly everybody from South Florida on up the east coast will need to watch this carefully. But it is still very early in the game. You can't rule out anything at this point. We'll check the intensity modeling, and we note that most models keep this a lower-end hurricane. And some do not make it a hurricane. And again, it's going to be fighting dry air and some fairly harsh winds aloft. SSTs look pretty good. And a lot will depend on the interaction with Hispaniola down the line. And again, this will be called Isaac in coming days. All right, let's look at the one close in. This is the one that's basically kind of near that old wavy front below Brownsville, Texas, that is in the southwestern Gulf. I get the idea it's going to sit there for a couple of days, and then ultimately most of the dynamic models that pick it up just drifted into Mexico in maybe 2 or 3 days. Limited barotropic, it's in La La Land. The Clipper is a statistical model. You see those lines coming up this way. I think the westward drift is correct with the ridge building north of the system. And many models don't develop it. A couple do, but I just don't think that's an issue here. All right, let's go to 96. This is the one that is, and boy, look at the wave train. Woo, Nelly. All right, you got 96 that is in the Atlantic off the coast of Africa, and you see 2 more on the continent ready to emerge. So the wave train is cranking, which it should. That's what happens this time of the year. Modeling on 96, takes this to a pretty high latitude. Many of them bring it north of 20 north, and again, traditionally in those spots out there, they recurve and they don't affect the United States. But having said that, many of the models ramp it up to a tropical storm strength and ultimately maybe a hurricane. But that looks like that will be a recurving storm. So kind of Isaac will clearly be the focus in coming days. Now let's look at the operational GFS. This is the OZ run, valid at 1 o'clock this afternoon at 500 millibars. About 18,000 feet up, there's your trough. Energy coming through the base of that thing across the Ohio River. And down below that, the day around here should be sunny and pleasant. Showers limited to far southeast Alabama around Dothan. The GFS is showing 88 today. Tomorrow, mostly sunny statewide. The GFS is showing 89. Dew points stay low. Dew points across the board only in the 50s. It's going to feel awfully nice. There's Thursday. We'll be close to 90. Same thing on Friday. We're dry. And there's Saturdays. We start the weekend. And again, we start to look at this in terms of what might happen with Isaac. Notice how there is a clear weakness in the 588 ridge, and that weakness begins off the east coast of Florida, which would suggest a northward turn really before getting up into the Gulf of Mexico. But let's see what this run does with it. We'll go down below. Isaac is right at the NHC position on this run near the south coast of Cuba, southeastern coast of Cuba. And again, here, there could be a few isolated showers this weekend, but not many. There's Sunday, and Isaac is beginning to make the north turn. We'll go to Monday, and that thing is on the coast near Fort Lauderdale on the Atlantic coast side of Florida. And keep in mind, the worst of the weather will be along and east of the circulation center. This is Tuesday. Now, instead of going north, it wants to bring it northwest. It's got the thing inland, just really near Valdosta, Georgia. And then on the following day, on the 29th, it begins to recurve northeast. So, how far west will this thing come? Nobody knows at this point, but I think a very, very high probability Alabama stays on the dry side, which would be the west side of the circulation. But this is just one run. There's a long way to go here. But I do think it will be more of an East Coast threat. We'll check the end of the forecast on September 5th. Well, if you're looking for dry air like we have now, that's not a good look. The westerlies are up north. We have a flat ridge down here, and that would be pretty toasty. We all know we can have hot weather in September and just a few scattered showers around. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this morning. We'll have notes on the blog. Next video here by 3:30 or so today. And don't forget to watch us on ABC 3340 News this evening at 4, 5, 6, and 10 on the live stream or the television side. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.